Welcome to the MFS Wellness Podcast, a hybrid structure encompassing health, fitness, self-improvement, and entertainment, where no topic is off limits and all opinions are graciously welcomed.
Let's get on with the show!
And now, here's the host of the show, Mike Sinopoli.
Welcome to the MFS Wellness Podcast. I am Mike Sinopoli, certified nutrition coach, consultant, counselor, call me whatever you would like. On this episode, I have brought in a guest, and the reason for bringing in this guest is to discuss something that you might not think you'd hear on this podcast, but I do believe it has a strong tie-in with mental health, which is a very big part of wellness overall. He's been on here before. We talked about his 10 years of sobriety. He is a school teacher himself. He is Sean Henaghan. Sean, how we doing, buddy?
How we doing? We're back.
We're back, man. Yet another one. I'm sure you'll be back a few more times on here too. We always have.
I hope so, man. I had a good time last time. Since the last time, I have fallen off the wagon. It's now, it's now things are going rough. I'm drunk every day. No, we're still sober, still over to 10 years. And teaching the youth of America every day. And it is definitely a different vibe and a weird time to be a teacher. That's for sure.
I can only imagine. And thank you for all you do. We know that's not a job everyone can do, and it's a very important one. So
thanks, man.
Good stuff. So the reason we're talking today is we had yet another school shooting that seems like we had a lull, but nevertheless, it's never a good time to have this. I think one school shooting, one bullet, one gunshot is too many. In my opinion, I don't believe we need to reduce it. I don't believe we need to moderate it. I believe it needs to be eliminated if possible. So what I'm going to do here is go over some stuff. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions because you are in the classroom. You probably have heard a lot more about this than I ever have. And that's kind of why you're here. So what I want to ask you to start off is a very basic question. As a teacher, what are these school shootings? When these go down, when the news breaks, what do you feel? What is your reaction when you see it? I mean, obviously we've had a lot of them. So as they've been building up, how has that affected you and how do you feel when that news breaks?
Yeah, man, it's crazy. First thing is the weirdest part is your initial reaction isn't as a teacher, right? It's as a parent. And I've got an 8-year-old, I've got a 5-year-old. And the first thing you just think about is like honest, you hear about it and just like, man, what the fuck? Another one? It's crazy at this point. I was talking to my dad actually today. He says he was looking at an article on something, and it's not even the main story anymore. 3 9-year-olds are dead, 3 adults are dead. And like you said, one shot is too many. I think that you said in your opinion, I don't think that's an opinion that's far off from that. Should be a pretty solid opinion of most, that one shot in a classroom is too many. It's crazy, dude. As a teacher, like, you do drills now, and I don't, growing up, we were not doing drills that are lockdown drills where it's like, this is what you do in case of an emergency, in case somebody's in the building and shooting. And like, to have those drills nowadays alone is just, it's a very fucked up time. So when this happens, your initial thought is, like I said, as a parent, but then from a teaching standpoint, it's like, all right, like at least for me, it's so sad. You want to think, all right, like, I would do anything to protect these kids. But then it also comes into being like, what the fuck? What is going on? Why am I in a spot that I have to think about jumping in front of bullets for kids? You know what I mean? It's wild.
Absolutely. And yeah, I believe that drill is called the Alice drill. Is that what they call it by you? They call it out by us. My kids' school, it's called the Alice drill. Alert, lockdown, inform, counter, and evacuate. These lockdown procedures are evaluated for improvements after each drill to ensure schools are prepared to proactively handle the threat of an intruder or active shooter. All principals and teachers have been trained in Alice. And I know that a few times this year already that we've had to tell our kids that they're having an Alice drill. And I don't really know how to approach them with that. I just said that's kind of an emergency thing. I'm a little vague about it because I don't want to scare them, because even though these school shootings are happening too often, they're still extremely rare, but that's not to downplay it. So I don't want to scare them. But for you, what do you tell your students when you have to do these drills? What do you say to them as a teacher when you're going to do something like this? Because it's not a fire or tornado drill. We know what that is.
Right. You know what's crazy, and I don't I don't want to talk about like specifics with where I work. I don't want to get into that, but like talking like in the neighborhood that I work in, gunfire is a lot more common outside of the school than inside of school, like than a risk I would think inside the school. We're a school that has metal detectors and all that, but like for me, I'm more alert while we're outside playing. Like we've been outside, you hear guns go off, have all the kids lay down, and we're crawling back into the building. You know what I mean? Like it's
right.
kind of vibe. So it's crazy. When we do these drills, when we do the lockdown drill, the Alice drill, I'm sure it's called an Alice drill for us too. We just call it lockdown. But when we do it, the kids almost like the kids in my school are not afraid. Like I have a lot of things. So they're still like messing around, goofing around and playing. You know what I mean? Like they don't take it very seriously. So like whenever it gets done, I literally sit them down and say, listen, guys, I understand we don't think it's going to happen here. That's what everybody thinks though, you know?
Yeah.
Everybody thinks it doesn't happen here. And sorry, I got this dog putzing around here.
Don't worry, man. You got to tend to the dog. Don't even worry about it. I can talk. I'm a loudmouth. I can fill in dead space.
Yeah,
you know
he's got his little feet prancing around here. I just didn't want it to be a thing. But you know, I got to tell them that I not to scare them, but I want them to know, like when we do these drills, we are in a situation where like I need you to know what we're doing, because you're joking around and playing could cost all of us. Like now you're messing with my life too at this point. I'm not trying to draw attention into our room. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I've also told my kids that if there is a lockdown drill, we have an exit door right in the gym. I said, if this is not a drill, you guys need to know we're out. Like we're gone. Is it the right move? No, I don't think. I think like, you know, in theory, you should be the lockdown and lead by example, but like yell all you want. You got my phone number, call me, and I will have these 20 kids or whatever I have in the room. They'll be safe. We might not be locked in the specific corner that you want us locked in, but you know, it's a weird situation, especially as a gym teacher, dude, where it's like, where do I hide them? You know what I mean? I've got an equipment room, I've got that, but like, you can't fit 25 kids in my equipment room. You can't fit them in my office. And my office has windows. Now, are we on a stage? Like it's fucked up, man, to like actually sit and think about it all. So that's why I tell them like, hey, we're gone, dude. We're running. I tell them like, we're going to be all right.
Being in a gym too, you got that's like a wide open area. It's kind of like everyone would seem to scatter and just run all over the place like chaos if something was to really happen. I know they do these drills, but I couldn't imagine I just don't know how well they will actually ever translate into reality. That's another thing to think about, because you know the drill is one thing, but you know, I'm not saying not to do it, but how would that even translate in reality? I hope we never have to know.
And that's the thing, dude, right? That's the whole thing. Like, okay, we could all do the bit where we hide in a corner and shut the lights and everybody be quiet for your drill. And if, you know, like they do it at our school and the police come through and you get like a badge if you end up getting killed. Like, first off, how crazy. You know what I'm saying?
A badge?
Like it's like a sticker that says like dead or like killed or something like that. So if like you're found in the hallway, like they'll come up and like put a sticker on you that says like you were killed. So then at the end of the day, you line up like at the end of the drill or whatever to line up. Like 4 people were killed in this drill because they didn't do things the right way.
I got you. I see.
But like, then our kids like turn it into almost a game. We're like, oh, who got killed in the drill? This is a drill where we're talking about killing people. Like this is school. What are you, like you said, you don't want to scare the kids. Like this is a fucking school. And we're talking about who's dying in here. Like it's a wild time. Man.
It is very bizarre. It seems like, I don't know if you can remember back, and I don't know if there's just because I was younger or not, but I go back to April 20th, 1999, Colorado, Columbine, the shooting. That seemed to be, to me, the first ever high-profile school shooting.
That was it, right? That was the one.
That was like, I felt like, to say what you said before, how it wasn't even making front page news, I felt like the country stopped for like 5 fucking days.
Dude, and it was like 9/11 vibes.
It was 9/11. It was O.J. Simpson. It was like, holy shit, this just happened. This has never been seen. And now it's like, oh, there was another school shooting. Did you hear about it? Yeah, I did. And then you just go back to have your lunch. It's not how it should be. It's desensitizing. It's so fucked up.
And it's weird, dude. Like the first one, the Columbine one, and I guarantee anybody who's listening to this could name one of those guys at least. I know it was like that Dylan Klebold, I think.
Yeah, Dylan Klebold.
Yeah, and I don't know the other kid's name, but the fact that we know that. What was the name of this person yesterday? You don't know.
Audrey Hill. Now, here's the reason why I know this, because it's fresh in my mind. And I also put out a tweet today, and I shared it up on my Instagram, and I said that the first thing that we need to do to eradicate this murderous type of mass shooting rampage through our schools is we need to immediately stop glamorizing the fucking shooter, because there are mentally ill people who have hit rock bottom. They're in the lowest of lows. They want to die. They don't care if they live. They want to be seen. They want to be important. They want to be heard. So what better way to go out than what they know is going to get a bunch of media press, even though it is diminished. They're going to go ahead and do this. I don't know all the motives, but I know that could be one. So what do you think about that? About like not saying the shooter's fucking name in not a school, a theater, a store, wherever it is. You just fucking don't say their names.
I agree 1,000,000%. You know this person's name right now. If we come back to it in a month, we might know it now because we're talking about it, whatever. Who did the one before this? We don't know. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. Like, you could name one here and there. You don't name them all, and you shouldn't be able to name any. These people shouldn't be celebrities at all. Like, it's crazy.
I also disagree with Netflix making serial killer documentaries for entertainment purposes.
I agree with you. Now, having said that, I watch the shit out of them. I watch them, and
I did watch some of the Dahmer one. I'm not going to lie, but so I'm a little bit of a hypocrite here. But yes,
neither here nor there. It doesn't because they are entertaining, but those are television. Now I understand, but yeah, it's dude. I don't think you should say that. I like it. I like what you're saying, and I've thought about it too. And it's just, why are we giving these people 2 seconds of publicity? You named her. Name one of the 3-year-olds or the 9-year-olds that died. Can you do that?
No, I can't. I saw that because they focus on the shooter. The victims are just names, and then the thoughts. And I'm tired of the thoughts and the prayers and the vigils and all this shit.
And like, look, so we do all the thoughts and prayers. Now, me and you have talked off podcast, obviously, a bunch about politics, and I'm not making this about politics.
Oh no,
all politicians are dog shit.
Totally.
And the proof is right now. Right now, the fact, like, if people want to be like, oh, your right wing is trash, your left wing is trash, I guarantee you don't have every single person in there voting one way or the other. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not. Right. And the fact that every single person that's in politics isn't doing something. The dude in Texas today what did he say? He just said, there's nothing we could do. Nothing we could do. We're the only fucking country where this is happening. There got to be something.
There's something that can be done. Absolutely. It's just a matter of what it is. And no, it's the problem too with me with politics, and this, you can go politics on this one all you want. It doesn't matter to me, because the politics are the problem. They automatically jump into a tragedy and start using it for leverage on their side. It's disgusting, and it's obvious. It's propaganda. It's bullshit, and these people are literally bloodsuckers coming after these dead kids and these dead teachers, and they're fucking using this in for their politics. It's and right wing, left wing. I don't give a fuck what wing it is. They're all doing something. They all have an agenda, and they don't care about the lives that are lost. That's why they don't fix these things, in my opinion. They don't fix. That's why abortion is going to be an issue all the time. The border is going to be an issue all the time. The guns are going to be an issue all the time. They don't fix them because they need them for your votes to get into power. And if you fix the fucking issue, they don't become a bullet point anymore within their debates. So why fucking fix it? Especially when we are going to eat each other on fucking social media over it, like we do every fucking time. Right away, the first thing we see, left wing yelling at the right wing, give up your guns, the other way around, check mental health. It's all this other stuff. I don't know the answer. I do have a list here that we'll look at in a minute, but there's so many different ways to go about it. And like I say, with politics, like 98% of people want the same fucking thing. 99% want the same fucking thing. We don't want any dead kids. We don't want any dead teachers. Okay. But how do we get there? Instead of everyone yapping at each other and fucking destroying each other and dividing, let's figure this thing out. Like, why are we not doing it?
Break off give me the Republicans who are saying it and the Democrats who are saying it. Hey, you guys are pals. Go in this fucking room over here. You guys talk in a group of 4. You guys like treat it like school without the guns. You know what I mean? Like treat it like school without the shooter in the room, and just let them sit apart, get in groups, small groups, and just brainstorm. Fucking do anything. Because something at this point, dude, like, is it the guns? Maybe. Like, should things change on guns? Maybe. Is it mental health? Yes, that is for sure, because nobody in their right mental state is like, I'm going to go kill a bunch of people. You're just not. We've had, again, this is another conversation me and you have had off podcasting, talking about like suicide. And we've said suicide, you know, the people want to say you're weak, you're fuck off with that. Like, this person has something wrong with them.
Absolutely.
Clearly.
Yes.
Clearly, because nobody in their right mind is going to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to kill myself right now.
Right. And a person with, exactly. That's, like we said, you've said it before. Some people say that people who kill themselves are cowards. I don't agree with that. I also wouldn't call them brave. I believe you said that yourself, but something isn't right. And I always say that they're aiming the gun, the knife, the drink. They're trying to drown a feeling, shoot a feeling. They're not actually killing their physical selves. I mean, they have to get rid of this issue they have in their head. And I think this is similar with somebody that comes and shoots up a school. I think they're just a little more deranged, and they want to take people with them and make noise before they go. That's the best thing I can think of.
A person who goes in and shoots up a school is a serial killer all at once. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, something is wrong with this person. Obviously, nobody in their right mind, just for a good time, is going to go shoot up a school and be like, "Oh yeah, that's okay to do, right? We're cool with that." No, it's not
at all. Not at all. And like you were saying before, you said guns, mental health, and a few other things. I think it's a little of everything that needs to happen. 100%. I don't think one thing needs to change. And that's what pisses me off. The people that just say it's the guns, or it's mental health, or it's security. It needs to be everything. Something needs to change on different levels. It can't just be everything is so fucking extreme. People think that you're going to remove one thing and it's going to change everything. No, I don't know too much about the gun laws of where. I know we have too many guns and there's restrictions on automatic weapons. I don't know a lot about it. I do believe in owning for protection and all that, and hunting and whatever else it is. And I do know that the statistics show that so many people own guns, but don't do any type of harm like this whatsoever. But at the same time, we have the most guns and the most school shootings.
Right.
But, then you have to think of what's our culture like here? It's like, what are we doing? Like, why are we so different than everybody else? We have a very high image culture with a lot of mental illness here, a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress. It's wild. And I'll tell you really quick, my daughter left her water bottle in the car when I dropped her off for school, and I noticed it a few hours later. So I went to the school and I was going to drop it off. The door was locked, so that was good, but I rang the thing. I said, hey, I'm here for my daughter's, I have her water bottle. I'd like to bring it in. Okay, come on in. This was a day after the school shooting. And I walked in and I'm like, wow, this fucking water bottle could be a gun right now. Nobody checked anything. Nobody questioned anything. I just said, hey, I'm here to give my daughter a water bottle. I just said my daughter's name, and all you need is a name from somebody from the school, and I can walk right in. And I said, I could just unload right now, or I can just drop off the water bottle, say I'm going to go to the bathroom, and then find a classroom. Bam, 26 kids dead if I wanted to. And so my thing is what do you believe is number one? Is it security at school? Is it gun laws? Is it mental health? What do you think is the first step outside of what I'd said about not glamorizing the shooters anymore?
Yeah. Fuck, man. It's such a hard, it's such a crazy thing. Obviously, I think mental health needs to be taken more serious in this country 100%. I don't think we put enough into mental health. Guns have to be stricter there too, obviously. But then, like you say, like it's to the point where it's like, well, people have guns, and like, a lot of people have guns that don't harm things. That's true. I have friends that have guns, and I am happy for them. I trust them with these guns. You know what I mean? I've shot these guns. But my thing is, whether it's a more intensive background check, you know what I mean, dude? Like, it's kind of what you said, to where everything has to change. It has to be a little bit of everything.
Right.
To me, guns, personally, my personal opinion, do I think anybody needs an AR-15? No. You know what I mean? I don't. Now, then you get into people who are like, well, I enjoy collecting guns. And then so it's like, all right, like, I get it. You know what I mean? And I understand, but I don't know, man. Like, if they're saying all these killings, if every single one that you're hearing about, not every one, and talking broad, but a lot of these mass shootings are done with an AR-15. Start there. Yeah. I don't know. You know what I mean? Start somewhere. Show us anything. What's been done since the Columbine one? What's been done since that? Anything?
That doesn't. Well, even if it has been done, it hasn't been effective. So. Right. Doesn't matter. The point is irrelevant at that point. And so my defense, the only thing I'll say, and this could be extreme on my end, is a lot of the arguments for people who want to keep their guns, their automatics, their semi-automatics. Again, I'm not a gun guy. I own, but I'm not a collector or any of that. But they always refer back to something like the Holocaust, World War II. And I've been down that story, down through that in some depths, man, and depressed myself looking through that. Yeah. I would literally tell you that I have nightmares from what I've seen and read from that. And that is one instance that I would always say, man, if those residents of those Jewish people in Eastern Europe and in Poland were armed, they might have a chance, but they weren't. I don't know what the gun laws were there, but I'm pretty sure it was the fact they were able to pull that off. First of all, is fucking wild to me. So that's kind of the argument. Like, we need to actually have these guns to protect ourselves from our own government. Because
playing devil's advocates.
Yeah.
Playing devil's advocate on that. Like, how many people died in that? How many people died in the Holocaust?
6 million Jews.
Everybody gets a gun? Is 6 million people going to have it? You know what I mean? Like, at that point, you have a whole ass army against citizens, and now you just break into full out war too. So
it makes sense. I get it. And even if not all 6 million had them, a lot of them were children, women, and such.
Yeah.
And the amount of soldiers to the people, when you read the books, it was minimal. They did this with minimal. I read Ordinary Men, dude. They just took these ordinary men and they basically turned them into a police battalion. And it was either us or them. You either listen to me and you're taking these people. So they didn't have a fighting chance. That's my only thing. Like, I look at people who do own these type of guns as almost insurance policies in some ways of this never happening again. People think it's crazy that I had mentioned that, but if you think about it, this happened 75, 80 years ago only. There are people walking the earth right now who were alive when that was happening. There are still Holocaust survivors, barely, that are still alive as children. So I get it, though. At what cost, I guess. I do. They both make sense, and I hear you, and I do believe that there is a very not necessary reason to own these otherwise. Other than that, that's it.
I mean, I agree, dude. Something has to be done with guns, I think, and like, maybe the people who are listening, and like, I've got a couple buddies who are big gun guys. One of them has an AR-15, but I don't worry about him going in and lighting up a school either. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
One thing I will tell you is, like, you get a lot of these people are like, we have the right to bear arms. It's in the amendment. We're protecting our Second Amendment. That's cool. Wasn't that written when they had like muskets? Like,
yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
I get that, man. Look, I'm going to tell you my own views on all that. I totally agree with you. 100%. I'm digging back that far to something that needs to be updated and upgraded for what we have. I do that sometimes with the Bible. I'm like, guys, this was written 2,000 years ago by God knows who, and who the hell has changed it since? You think, dude, they are trying to change history in front of our fucking eyes right now. They're pulling down statues. They're burning flags. They're not teaching certain things in history classes because they don't want it out there. And that's with the internet. That's with technology and video and things like that. They're trying to eradicate it. What the hell did they do back then when there were no cameras, a shitty printing press? They could just throw a bunch of shit in the fire, rewrite it. Now that's history.
And now the Constitution, I just looked because I never really, I knew it when I had to know it. It was written in 1787. Okay.
Okay.
So you're dealing with what, 250 years ago?
Right.
Things change, man. Write a new one. Let's just, you know what I'm saying? Write a new one, or, change a couple things. The right to bear arms in 1787 is wildly different than 2023. I don't want to buy into this shit where it's like, well, criminals will get their guns. Yeah, I get it. Okay, I understand. But do something. Do anything. Even if it's like, hey, as a sign of good faith, we're just going to no more AR-15s for anybody. All right, let's just see how that goes. Try something. One thing that I've read about a little bit, and it's people calling for it, and like, if this is something that's tried, you will see me protesting. But the teachers getting guns, get the fuck out of here.
No, that is something that I've heard mentioned before, and I cannot believe anybody would say that in a serious way. The teachers and the students deserve, and I believe are entitled into feeling safe and doing what they need to do, which is teach and learn in classes, and not have to worry about offing some psychotic murderer in the class. No, you didn't sign up for that. It's like, dude, it's like, no, I didn't sign up for that. And you look, you're a 40-year-old man who could probably actually have a gun and do something with it. What about that? My daughter's kindergarten teacher is a 68-year-old woman who is not gonna run around with a gun. She's just not. So no, that is not a viable option. That's probably going to cause some other sort of shooting issue within the class in some fashion of a kid getting a gun. No, that is not. What am I
supposed to do with it? Just while I'm doing gym class, I just have it in my pocket. Like, what am I doing? Like, am I wearing a holster all day? And I'm just.
What are you going to do when you're doing you're playing basketball with your students and the shooter comes in and you're on one side of the court and your office is a full court away? What are you going to run to get your gun while this guy's shooting everybody?
Or if I have it on me, do I now trust myself to shoot through a pack of 25 kids to get this? Like, right. No, I'm not doing it.
And some people, they don't, and that's fine. They don't want to hold a firearm. They're not comfortable with it. They don't like it. They don't enjoy it. They're scared of it. They don't want to do it. And I mean, some people, okay, if you become a cop, you got to do it. Okay. But you're a teacher. You don't have to do it. I completely think that's 100% nonsensical and should never be even considered. It doesn't make any sense when you dig down deeper. So anyways, I pulled up this article and to kind of say what we're thinking here. They put 5 ways to reduce school shootings. This is less than a year old. The first one obviously is dramatically limit access to guns. So gun regulations. We talked about that. Right. Use more violence risk assessments in schools. Do you know what that means? Use more violence risk assessments in school. These assessments are conducted by professionals like police officers, school officials, and teachers. They also involve mental health professionals, school counselors, psychologists. Together, these professionals consult which one to determine a young person's risk for violence. I don't understand how that would really help. What do you think? That's why you're here as a teacher. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like, it seems like it's just like going over the risk factors.
It's just like educating people of what could happen. These terms may not be able to prevent every possible incident. Okay, so what good is this?
Yeah, that one's scratch number 2.
Expand evidence-based strategies to reduce violent behavior.
You can stop reading this shit. All it is. So what they're giving is this is like teachers apparently have come up with this. And I say teachers came up with this because this is the bullshit jargon that I have in every one of my meetings always. And it's like, all right, you need to strategize the maximum potential of your shooting firearm. Get the fuck, just tell me in regular fucking language.
Yeah.
Like, just talk to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So, like, what they're talking about, your risk assessments, we need to look it over and be like, all right, what are the chances somebody comes in here with a gun? What are the chances anybody comes in? All right, so our risk at my school is high because there's more guns in that neighborhood.
Right.
But if you want to look at it, in the past, the pattern here is that it's been all white shooters in these schools. Okay. Again, without saying where I work, my school will be safe if it's all white. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to be good. I've said it to somebody today. We were talking about it at school. I said, in our neighborhood, once I get into the building, I feel safe. If I didn't get shot walking into the building, I'm not terribly worried about it. Again, what I said is like more when we're playing outside in the playground, like that to me is a bigger fear. Right. But again, I think it's one of those things, almost like we say about kids, almost like we say, like, you're so far detached from it. Like, I can't even imagine it happen because it's such a crazy thought. Oh, yeah. You want to feel like you're prepared. You want to feel like you do your best. Like I said, dude, I've been outside where you hear gunshots, and like me and another guy were laying basically on second graders and like bear walking them into like a barricade over them to get into the building. And it's like, where am I? What are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, what is it?
And that's a whole nother thing, you know,
we're talking again,
that's okay. But I'm just saying that's even another thing, like just where we live. We're in Chicago. You teach in the area in Chicago here.
I'm on the west side of Chicago.
So you know, we have our areas here, and you know that everybody kind of knows we have a reputation for. And that's another problem in itself. And again, like a lot of people will argue that many of the outside, the gang-related shootings are with illegal firearms. So that
AR-15s.
They're not AR-15s, right? Lots of handguns and such.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So that's a start. I agree. I have to say I agree in some fashion. I just get nervous myself about reducing the guns based on theories. But
yeah, I
totally get it. So again, something has to be done.
Let me ask you this. At this point, do we have a broad enough spectrum, I guess, would you say? Like, do we have enough evidence to say, hey, you know what? AR-15s are kind of causing a problem here. You know what I mean? That to me is to where it's kind of like and now look, I could be ignorant and just reading shit and blindly saying, yup, it was an AR-15. It was an AR-15. I haven't looked into all these shootings to make sure they are AR-15s, but what you usually hear is that they are.
Right.
I feel like that to me is a start. Let's start AR-15s. Let's go. You know what I mean? And like, gun people, I don't know if there's an AR-15 and an AR-17. I don't fucking know guns. I have no idea.
We are Sean and I are self-admittedly pretty dumb to guns.
Very ignorant.
I have to say 100%. So. So you know, I get it. I don't. Maybe I could talk to somebody who is more gun savvy that can give me a good reason for these. Like I said,
I talked to that I told you has an AR-15. He said I said, you're a gun guy. Let me ask you this. And his exact thing is, does anybody need this? No. He says, you don't. This is absolutely, it is a weapon for battle, basically.
Right. And that's exactly right. And that's exactly what I said. The only reason that I would even say we can't fully get rid of these for civilians and for people to have and own is strictly why I believe, for what I said, if we have to go to war against our own government or some sort of civil war created this, I know it's extreme, but once the guns are gone, they're gone. You can't get them back. That's the thing. That's the only thing that keeps me thinking, but I don't know what the answer is, but I'm going to read number 4 because I believe this is actually the number one thing to start with outside of not mentioning the name of the shooter anymore.
Yeah.
I think making school buildings safer, which to me would be I know they got locks on the doors. I don't know what they can use a different sort of glass because I don't know if you watched the TMZ video of the shooter from the other day in Nashville, the transgender person or whatever they're calling him or her.
Real quick, can we talk about the video for 1 second?
Sure, that's why I'm bringing it up.
How weird that, and now this is gonna put on your tinfoil hat.
Oh, we're gonna get the tinfoil hats on. Let's go. I got some for you, and I hope you're gonna say the same thing as me. But go ahead.
Me and you talked about it before, like when we first heard about it. Me and you said, "God, man, another school shooting. I can't fucking believe it." Then we both said, you had said, yeah. You said, not to sound fucked up, but I'm starting to wonder if it really even happened. I told you, I'm in the same boat. I think it happened, sure, but it's because we're being told it happened. If they said it's all bullshit, I would believe that too. Suddenly, why is this the video they put out? Why this one? And I'm not saying it didn't happen, but why, like this time, now we're seeing, is it just, is this to applaud the police this time? Which they did an amazing job. They did a great job. By the way, any cop, you are a braver individual than me. I'm telling you that right now. The fact that you went and got your badge, I don't care if you're crooked. I don't care if you're not crooked. Whatever you are, you're braver than me because you went to it. Same with anybody who signs up for the Army, Marines, Navy. You're braver than I am, okay? But are we seeing this video as like a, hey, you guys all hated the cops from the last one because they didn't go in, but check this one out. This one, we got him. We killed him.
Right.
And it really happened because here you go. Here's the evidence, the video proof.
So I hear you. So my thing was not so much that it happened or not. I say that it did. But I say this is conspiracy, folks. And now listen, just to let you know that Sean and I kind of go on different ends of the political spectrum a little bit, but we're not extremists. We lean a different way each. Now, what I could say, if you follow politics enough and you pick up on some things, now hear me out. This was an orchestrated shooting by the right-wing politics. Why? What did it do? It made transgender people who are being touted by the left right now heavily, to the point of why the hell are they so into the transgender community so much? They don't care that much. So anyways, that's the left. They're doing that. So why not make the shooter a transgender? Okay. Then you got the body cam of the police looking like fucking heroes. And who's been bad-mouthing the police? The left. So why wouldn't the right construct some sort of mass shooting to change this up? And that's where the votes are going to go. Look, we need the police. We fuck the trans. That's what they're doing. And if you noticed twice within the TMZ video, they panned over to the bathroom that said man, woman, same bathroom. Twice they were in that area. I picked up on it. Now, I understand I sound like a crazy conspiracy theorist, and I might just be that. But I'm always thinking about it. I don't sit there and preach that and say it's true, but I will always sit there and ask a question and look at something fucked up when it's fishy. That's just the way I am.
Also, you're not saying that that's definitely what you think happened.
Either. No, I don't. I just say that's something to consider that's way fucking out there.
That's what I'm saying too on mine is like, it's definitely like, just throwing it out there. Like, is the reason that we're seeing this now is because to prove that it really happened or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like, there's enough shit because you had the whole Sandy Hook thing where that one, everybody seems to believe it didn't happen. Like a lot of people.
That was a convincing conspiracy theory by Alex Jones. That was convincing.
Right. And now he put that out there, and a lot of people bought into that the Sandy Hook thing didn't really happen. So now is it, hey, we got to show you that it's really happening? You know what I mean? Like, what kind of fucked up country are we living in at this point to where we need proof that it's happening? I don't need to watch this guy get killed or the girl get transferred. No. I didn't need to see that. Now I watched it. Sure. I've needed to see one person die my whole life. And when it was the Saddam Hussein thing, I said, you know what? I want to watch this piece of shit. When his video came out and he was hanging, I'm like, let's watch this scumbag dude. I needed to see that.
Sure.
All the rest of the deaths and shit that I've ever seen on the internet on this one is just because I'm fucked up. That's the only
old rotten. Remember rotten.com?
dude.
It's fucking disturbing.
Shit, me and my friends used to watch his Faces of Death. You ever hear of that?
I had that DVD.
My God, dude. I people our age are not fucked up at all because of all the shit that we've seen growing up. I used to go to Ken's World of Video on a Friday night. You rent Faces of Death 1 through 3, watch a couple people get beheaded, and play video games all night. That was our evening. I'd watch a guy get eaten by a bear, and then I'm sitting there on the other TV, we're playing Madden tournaments.
No, it was like nothing. You'd go to bed and have sleep tight like a little baby. It didn't matter.
It never bothered me.
I didn't care. But but I mean, like now, I don't know. Those were like videos, that you just watch for shock value. This is like breaking news, and they're always in our face with the media with all this stuff, and it's getting kind of weird. And I think that's the way it's going. But the to kind of wrap up this list here, I don't think I'm even going to read the other one. It's just
sorry.
It's all right. So it's what makes it good. Reduce exposure to violence through media and social media. So it's kind of opposite of what you were saying. That's to me, that's kind of like blaming video games for people to do that, right?
When we were younger, it's like, oh, these people want to kill people because they played Doom, the video game. Remember, it was Doom the big, fucking putting everybody over the edge and wanted to kill because we played Doom.
Grand Theft Auto.
Yes, right. I played a lot of hours of Grand Theft Auto. I've never smashed my car into another car, dragged the person out, and beat him to death. You know what I mean?
Haven't, dude? You're not living your life, man.
I know.
You've never picked up a hooker, did your thing, set her on fire, and ran away. Come on.
I didn't say that. I said I never hit a guy with my car. And
okay, all right. Now we got the specifics down. Very good. Yeah, no, So of this list, the only two that I can even say would be of some help were 1 and 4, which is do something with gun laws and safety for the school building itself. Now, I didn't even say enough for that. I do believe that in some fashion to have armed guards, it sounds sick, but to have some sort of presence. Not teachers, but specifically somebody on site.
Yeah, I get what you're saying on that. And honestly, dude, as a teacher, like, to put that perspective to it, like, it is getting to the point where it's like, yo, something we got to do. Like, we do have to do something. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
Where the armed guard in the building or a cop in the building who has a gun is not an awful idea. I don't hate the idea whatsoever.
And that really came to my head. I was at my daughter's preschool graduation last year. We were all congregated in the church, and I believe a school shooting had happened probably within the last month or so, which is why I was even thinking about it. And I was just saying to myself, I'm sitting in here, what would make me feel safer? A law that's been passed, or a gun measure or a law, or an armed guard standing outside the front of the church?
Yeah.
Say the guard, probably the guard. Now, then, the devil's advocate can say, well, what if these sickos try to become this guard and then kill everybody from there? But I said that's a lot of extra steps for a psychotic person to take to get evaluated, apply, and be okay to go ahead and do this.
And I don't know how hired just for that. You know what I mean?
Right. I'm sure there's
an off-duty cop. I don't know what it is, man. And you know what else? Like, this, what's great about this isn't our problem. What we do know is that we are both in agreement in that, like, apparently, I think we agree with just about everybody that this shit needs to stop. But it's not we could yell it as much as we want. The people that we have in office who have been put there to protect us and to do what's in our best interest have done nothing about it.
And it's likely they will not ever do anything about it. I think at this point,
too much money in it. There's too much money in all of it.
Too much money, and there's too much political uproar with it to gain votes. They use the fear, man. They need the fear. If you make the schools safe, you lose the fear. And it's fear that drives the votes. It's the fear that I can't get an abortion. It's the fear that the illegal aliens are coming across the border. It's all fucking fear-based shit, and that's what this comes down to. And that's why these things never get fucking resolved, because the fear goes, the scare goes. They don't care. The votes won't matter anymore for those issues. So
school shootings became the newest, like, disgruntled employee. You know what I mean?
The postal, when you used to go postal or some shit. Now it's this.
Now it's just kids. And partially of that, I will say, is I think a big part of it is that kids these days are growing up too fast. Kids are growing up. I'm not saying that they would grow up to kill their office workers,
No.
But I think kids they're doing everything faster. They're having sex faster. They have cell phones at a younger age. They're gone on social media, everything.
My daughter's not even 9. She's going to be 9 in July, and she's asking me already for an iPhone.
Like, what does she need a phone for? You know what I mean? Like,
dude, she made a whole PowerPoint presentation on her tablet and why she should have a phone. It's insane. I'm just like, I don't know right now. I just said, we'll see. So for that, I said I couldn't. So I pulled up this chart, right? This is the source here is the Department of Homeland Defense and Security, the K through 12 shooting database. And I'm just looking at it here, and there is, and maybe you can help me with some of this. I'm looking at the chart. I know you can't see it, but there is a huge, and I mean a huge uptick in shootings, mass shootings, starting in about 2019, like significant.
Huh.
Let's see, 22, 21, 20. Yeah, significant. And it really skyrockets in 2021. And I'm just trying to figure out what the hell happened in those years to where these shootings started going ballistic. To me, it kind of lines up with our COVID-19 a little bit. I don't know where that would play in, but that's something major that happened. But these are the shootings, close to 250 of them happened in 2021. It looks like we're already at like 130 or some shit in 2023 of mass shootings. There's more days. They said today, I don't know where these other ones are, or they're not all school shootings, but I guess they classify a mass shooting as anything that happens with X amount of people involved. I don't know how they classify it exactly, but it's really shot up. What do you say? What do you think that's been, what's causing this?
I was trying to pull up here the graph. Once you said the K through 12 shooting database, and I'm looking at number of victims, fatal and wounded on K-12 student property. And like, it goes only through I guess, 2021, you're saying like 273 or something.
Actually, you know what? I misspoke. This chart I'm looking at, I'm actually going to shoot you over an email if you can get it. And maybe you can just have a look at the same one I'm looking at.
It looks to be 2022. There was 273. I think this year, 2023, we're already at 75. I think is what it is.
Something. I think it's more, but that might be I don't know. Like, where are the other shootings? Like, what are they? What are the other ones? I don't understand. But I don't know. Again, who am I to trust this data right away? You know what I mean? So
yeah. I mean, if last year 273 people were killed in school shootings, I mean, that's a fucking lot. Like, I didn't hear about 273 kids getting killed. You know what I mean? I feel like, but not to say it didn't happen, not any of that. Whether it's one person gets killed at a school or whatever, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing with this graph. I sent you an email if you got it with this graph I'm looking at. So if you look at, there's a black and a red chart we're looking at here. And the red number is the amount of shootings, and the black number is the amount of victims killed. Okay. As you'll see that it's even in 2021 there was 250 shootings apparently, but under 50, it looks like about 45 deaths. Still too many. But I do believe I had heard before that like there was a school, and it's K through 12, so you got high school as well, where like a kid had a gun and he just sort of like shots fired in the parking lot, maybe just for fun. They count that as a mass shooting, I believe. They got some fucked up reporting.
Yeah, it's kind of,
It also makes me wonder, like, okay, look, if a kid has a gun, a 12th grader or whatever, a senior in high school has a gun in his car, wherever it is, and he shoots the gun up in the air a few times in the parking lot, just scares a bunch of people. Granted, I don't think that's right to do, but let's not report that here in a mass shooting.
The guy should be put in jail because he's a maniac. But now, should that be going down as the same thing as
no?
No, you know what I mean.
It shouldn't. I think it's
It's
whatever.
The data. It's 100% skewing the data, and it makes no sense.
It's why I don't trust our government. They skew data like that, and then same thing with like COVID-19. Oh, this guy was 98 years old. He had all this stuff, but he had COVID when he died. Now he's a COVID. No, it's the same.
He died in his sleep, but it's probably because of COVID.
Right. But
it's now. I think you said why the uptick. I think it's everything that we've been saying, and then some. Right. I think it's the the publicity that we give shooters.
Yeah.
I think it's the TikTok generation where they're going to tell you they're doing something and then they actually go through and do it. I think it's honestly social media. I think like now our school is just a lot of fights if nobody's bringing guns, but majority of the fights are happening and they're saying like, well, they were saying this about me on Snapchat. They were saying this on Instagram. It all started 2 weeks ago on Facebook. And it's like, all right, that's the same shit you hear about when like you hear parents are bullying kids on Facebook and shit. And it's like, you're giving people time to stew and get mad. You're just feeding it. And then eventually people hit a breaking point. And if that breaking point is so crazy that they get a gun and come shoot it up, it's kind of like, well, but then again, you have these other instances where it's just somebody completely fucking random. I don't know.
It's the extreme. It's the farthest extreme reaction for sure, but it definitely can't just be ignored. And I definitely think, I know we talked about doing a bullying episode. I think we will do that one day.
Yeah. But
I think that what you kind of said is something we would incorporate there, but can kind of go along here, is that kids, they used to, if they got bullied at school, they usually, if provided they had a good home life, they could go home and get some relief. But now, if they've got the Snapchat, they've got the TikTok, they got Instagram, they got Twitter, they can get bullied if they're on their devices or in video games in those rooms. They can get bullied 24/7 now because they can't get away. No. Cyberbullying is legit, and a lot of that probably contributes to this, because I do see that the internet age, which they said started up the I generation, which is anybody born after 1995. This generation essentially does not know what life is like without the internet. So this generation kind of, and then with social media, about 2011 was when it really started up skyrocket. That is where you start seeing too a lot of these shootings really start taking off. Is when this internet age started really progressing. We got so into this metaverse. It's hard to blame that because we're all on it, and we're all not, most of us are not doing this. So it's so hard to blame something like that. But it does make sense, and you have to factor it in when you're looking for a fucking solution, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and when, like one of the things I was reading about, and I really hope that this happens actually, is said like the youth of America, are they stopping to go on social media? Like, are they thinking social media is lame because their parents grew up with social media? And like, man, there's nothing I hope more than my kids don't fall into this social media trap, poison, time-killing piece of shit that we have. Because
I like to think your wishes, they're good. I agree with them. I unfortunately, I can't sit here and think that you're going to get that wish, because the way the world's moving, the metaverse, the people are going to be able to like go in that Oculus and that VR shit. They're already doing that. It's going to be an even more expansive where you go in there and it's its own world.
You're going to have the kids who were bullied at school and bullied on social media and want to get away from everything. And now they just stay home and go into this metaverse and make friends on there that they'll never meet in real life. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And it's just even more detachment from reality. And we are human beings. We do need human connection. We haven't changed who we are. Over the years of evolution takes for years and eons and shit. It takes forever. We're the same fucking people we were 300 years ago. We just grew up with different shit, and our brains are not designed to be eating all these opinions and taking all this abuse and criticism so often on the internet. You almost have to have the thickest skin ever, or else you're going to get eaten alive with this mental illness. And before we do close this up, because I know we're running long and I know you got stuff to do, but mental illness is one thing I wanted to talk to you about really quick. Mental health with teachers, students, parents. Where are you seeing anything as a teacher? Are you seeing kids any more fearful and anxious? Any teachers and coworkers and faculty, are they any more anxious, depressed, down, worried, demotivated, concerned at school?
I would say that the students, no. I think the students is just speaking of my school. The students we have metal detectors when they walk in. Now, the students see it as a sense of security. I see it as a false sense of security. You got to walk in 2 sets of doors, then make basically a 90-degree turn to go through the metal detector. So like, why would, if you have a gun, just keep walking straight and you're in classrooms instead of making the right to go through the metal detector whole thing. But I think kids see the metal detector and think they're safe. Teachers, we definitely have all, like, we've talked, it's demoralized. Like, you are just kind of like, it's like a shrug of the shoulders, and it's like, man, what the fuck are we supposed to do? Like, we're here to keep your babies safe. We're here to, this is like, school is supposed to be a safe, welcoming environment, and it is nothing like that right now. You know what I mean? It's not safe. It's not. I mean, look, school is not. I'm saying it's not safe. It's safe, but the fact that anything could happen at any time at any school, it's insane. And like, teachers, I think, are, without going on a whole teacher rant, you also have all these tests that you have to teach to, and just what education has become. You have that all to go on top of it. And then with that, you also now have this responsibility where you have to remind kids you're in a safe venue. We're here to protect you. We won't let anything happen to you, type thing. You know what I mean? Like, and you do sometimes feel like you're dropping a false sense of hope on these kids and a false sense of security. That's just, it's a weird, like I've said 100 times on here, it's a really weird time to be a teacher. Like, one more thing before we go is, like, I saw on Instagram or Twitter, one of these social media poisons, I saw like a box that you put in like a corner of the room, and you pull it out, and now all the kids run in there in the case of a shooting, and it's a bulletproof box basically that you could put in every classroom. And like, looking at it, you're like, oh, that's a great idea. It's also fucking horrific that we are even thinking that we need to put these in our classrooms. You shouldn't have to have a bulletproof safety box in every room. But it's a wild time to be a teacher, man.
I'm sure it is, man. And, it sucks. You guys got to kind of put up with that sort of thing. The good news is, not to make light of it, the school is a safe place when you look at the statistics and the numbers. Obviously, this should be a 0%, but just like the same thing you'd say to your kids when you jump in the car with them, it's going to be fine. You're going to be safe. It's all good. Shit happens. But you know what? This is preventable in some cases. It could be more done, at least, even if it could be reduced at this point.
Could be anything done. We're saying more done. We could do anything. Right. Try something. Like, that's why I'm also not opposed to having the armed guards in the schools, because it's something. Give me anything.
I think
anything
that's
but the teachers with guns.
I think that's a solid start. I know it might be a little, I don't know, not fun to see and have to see, why is this guy here? But you know what? Hey, he's here to help you. He's here. She's here. Maybe, whatever it is.
This the sign of the times. You know what I mean? That's all it is. It sucks. But would everybody feel safer if you have somebody there who has a gun? Probably. You know what I mean?
I think so. So I think that's a good analysis of this thing. I know there's a lot more questions and answers for everybody. I just wanted to kind of touch in and see where it was with the teachers, with the mental health of it, because I know that even for me, I'm the kind of guy, hey, since the odds are so low, this happening, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to let it bother me too much. But at the same time, it does cross my mind when I drop my kids off at school. So, it has to. And that's the only thing we're looking at here. So I would say to anybody listening that, you just do the best you can. The teachers are doing what they can. I believe that the faculty, the staff there is doing what they can in their power to prevent these sort of things as best we can with the drills. But more needs to get done, but that's out of their hands at that point. Again, unfortunately, we have to turn to the filthy politicians and hope that they can pull something. But like I'd said before in this episode, I'm not very optimistic of that. So we're going to get out of here. And just wanted to kind of shoot the shit on this topic, see where it was with the people who are watching our kids, who are responsible for them learning. And that's it, man. Anything else you want to add before we take off?
Good, man. I'm good. Everybody stay safe. Just appreciate your teachers. Kind of like you just said at the beginning, man. Like, teachers, we get shit on for certain things, but just remember, like it's not teachers who are shooting up the school. Like, we're trying our best too to help out the kids. Like, we're doing everything we can. So true. Our teachers, our police officers, and even another one I put in there are the nurses out there. But those are some of the best, most admirable jobs, out there doing a lot for us. So I'm gonna get us out of here now. My name's Mike, as you probably know. This has been Sean. If you want to reach me, I'm on Twitter, Facebook,
Instagram, LinkedIn, all those poisonous sources. At MFS Wellness, I do have an email address, mike@mfswellness.com. If you want to talk to Sean, talk about anything school related or whatever else, he's on Instagram at no left and the number 1. I'll put his contact info in the show notes. So until we come back with another episode, thanks to everyone who listens.